Disney's Adventure Stories. Hercules Wonder Boy. All day and into the night, Hercules had traveled toward the temple of Zeus. He had a feeling that the god could tell him about his past. Now, inside the temple, he stood before the giant statue of Zeus. Suddenly, it started to move. A great stone hand reached down and scooped him up. Didn't know you had a famous father, did you? Zeus said with a laugh. Surprise! Sadly, Zeus explained that when Hercules was just a baby, he had been stolen and turned into a human. Hercules' superhuman strength was the only godlike quality he still had. If you can prove yourself a true hero on earth, your godhood will be restored, said Zeus. Seek out Philoctetes, the trainer of heroes. With that, Zeus snapped his fingers, and a winged horse appeared in the temple. Pegasus, cried Hercules. He remembered playing with Pegasus as a baby. That night, Hercules and his horse flew to Philoctetes' home on the Isle of Hydra. Phil trained Hercules to throw daggers and swords and rescue damsels in distress using a doll for practice. Finally, it was time to test Hercules' strength in the real world. On Pegasus, Hercules, and Phil flew toward the city of Thebes. On the way, they heard a cry for help. Following the sound, they found a centaur holding a girl in his powerful grip. Hercules rushed to save her. Using his massive strength, he rammed the beast with his head. The centaur crashed into a waterfall. Then Hercules sent the creature flying with a forceful punch. The lovely Megara was impressed. So, did they give you a name along with all of those rippling pictorials? She asked. Hercules stumbled over his words. He felt weak all over. As he watched Meg walk away, a silly grin came over his face. I'm Hercules. I think I prefer Wonder Boy, Meg replied. Isn't she something? Hercules swooned, but Phil was not happy. He thought a hero shouldn't have any distractions. They flew on to Thebes, a city prone to disaster. Hercules looked around, eager for a chance to be a hero. Suddenly, there was Meg running through the crowd. Wonder Boy, Hercules, thank goodness. She told Hercules that two boys were trapped in a rock slide. Poor Hercules. He didn't realize Meg was setting him up. She had been sent by Hades, evil lord of the underworld. Rushing to save the boys, Hercules lifted a giant boulder and freed the children from a cave. He did not realize that the boys were really Hades' minions. Pain and panic. But there was no time for him to find out. Something else was emerging from a nearby cave. It was a terrible monster called the Hydra. With gnashing teeth, it came after Hercules. Hercules slashed at the monster with his sword, but when he cut off its head, many more grew back. The more he cut, the more hideous heads appeared. Soon there were hundreds. Hercules did not give up. He banged his powerful fist into the rocky cliff. Huge boulders tumbled down, killing the monster. Soon Hercules was famous in Thebes, but he still could not return to Olympus. Being famous isn't the same thing as being a true hero, said Zeus. Look inside your heart. It did not take Hercules long to follow his father's advice. he and Meg spent more time together, they began to fall in love. Little did Hercules know that Meg worked for Hades. Long ago, she had sold her soul to him. Now Hades was using Meg to discover Hercules' weakness. Once he had defeated the strong man, Hades could wage a war against his enemy Zeus. Soon it was clear that Hercules' only weakness was his love for Meg. So Hades captured Meg and bargained with Hercules for her freedom. Give up your strength for about 24 hours. Say the next 24 hours, Hades said. In the deal, Meg would be set free. Before he agreed, Hercules made Hades promise that Meg would not be harmed. Then, as he shook hands with the Dark Lord, his strength slipped away, and a terrible war began. Under the sea, Hades released the Titans, monsters of wind, ice, fire, and rock. The Titans marched from their underground prison to battle Zeus. Meanwhile, Hades sent the monster Cyclops to keep Hercules from ruining his plans. Although Hercules was weak, Phil urged him to fight back. He believed Hercules could be a hero even without his mighty strength. Determined, Hercules grabbed a flaming torch and poked the Cyclops in his eye. Then he tied his feet together. As the monster stumbled and fell, it knocked over a giant column that fell toward Hercules. "Hercules, look out!" cried Meg. She pushed him out of the way, and the column fell on her. Meg really did love Hercules. Her loyalty was to him, not Hades, but she was dying. In a rage, Hercules flew to defeat Hades. Hades' deal was broken once Meg was hurt, and Hercules' strength returned to him. He broke the chains that were holding the gods and freed his father from his lava-encased prison. Then he grabbed the tornado titan. All of the titans were sucked into the swirling wind. With one mighty toss, Hercules threw them up into the stars. Zeus cheered for his son, but Hercules wasn't finished yet. He had to save Meg. Racing into the underworld, he saw Meg's spirit floating in the pit of souls. As he jumped in and rescued her, a golden light surrounded Hercules. By risking his life for Meg, he had become a true hero at last. Finally, Hercules could return to Olympus, but he knew that he could not stay there. A life on earth with Meg was better than an immortal life with the gods. Zeus was so proud. He made a picture of his son in the stars so that everyone would remember the mighty Hercules. The end.